afternoon, everyone. My name is Vanprat Jantavongsathorn. I study at Kasetsart University Laboratory School Multilingual Program Center of Educational and Research and Development. Now I'm studying in grade 12. Today, I would like to present about the study of factor affecting program rating in workpoint determinant station via a machine learning algorithm. So this is my outline that includes objective, material, and method, result and discussion, and conclusion. Firstly, I would like to talk about the media. Currently, television media is a channel that greatly influences Thai people thinking. Measuring popularity through TV rating is an essential indicator of TV program success. To be a factor in selecting the most popular and influential TV program and influence the section of advertisement to this list. In addition to the content, the program rating are also influenced by other significant variables, such as the day and broadcast time, which can also impact since it's challenging to anticipate whether the rating will rise or fall in advance. This prediction can be generated using machine learning. Machine learning is an employed in industrial production process to achieve satisfactory outcome. Machine learning may assist in issue solving and may organization using it to produce the top-notch effect. And it also saves more time. Machine learning instruct machine on how to manage data better. The objective of this research is aimed to apply the random forest regression technique to predict a program on workpoint entertainment and to study the factor that affect the program rating of workpoint entertainment. For the material and method, Figure 1 shows that the research methodology and overview of this research. The data collection from workpoint entertainment were gathered for this study and then substituted into a random forest algorithm and will as being integrated into a Python utilizing scikit-learn library. A total of 91 data set. It consists of 13 variables and one variable output data. For the random forest regression or IFR algorithm, an assembled model is the IFR used to predict the rating of all 20 programs. A model that increases prediction probability by mixing other models is called an assembled model. And the average program rating in each month was output data. For the result and discussion, a heat map is a graph where the data values are represented by color based on Pearson correlation. In the other words, it uses color to tell the reader something. From the study of the coefficients that affect the interaction of program by using machine learning to predict the result as shown in figure 2. From the study, the coefficient can be seen from the colors of the coefficient dark blue, white, and dark red. The figure shows that the higher correlation value, the darker blue color, indicating that the correlation is a direct variation. If the correlation is white, then the correlation is no effect. On the other hand, if the correlation is dark red, then the correlation is inverse variation. For the effect of the interaction between performance and item that affect the television station rating, machine learning prediction results found that program had the most significant impact on showing rating at 48%, followed by the time and period were 15% and 10% respectively. However, other parameters can also affect the program showing rating is 3%, 2%, and 1% respectively. The results are shown in figure 3. To better understand the prediction performance of the success model, figure 4 compares instance of the dispersion of predicted value with actual value for the rating of Workpoint Entertainment television station during the training and testing. The straight line show that the prediction and test data are agree precisely. The training case R-square value were within 95.69%, whereas the test case R-square for the Workpoint Entertainment television station rating was not 3.10%. Figure 5 show the interaction between parameter, period, time, and budget with rating. The time which will boosting rating should between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. If the program is broadcast after 8 p.m., the rating will decline, which between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. When all age finish school or work back home and is relaxing time for all gender and age, just making is the highest rating. The duration of the period make the program rating even higher, which plays a significant role in a television station would like to increase its rating. The duration of the broadcasting should be 19 to 120 minutes. Figure 6 show the result of the interaction between a date and time that affect the program rating. The prediction show that when the program is broadcast on Friday and Sunday, the average rating will increase to the highest at 7 p.m. due to the time of work and weekends. This increase in rating looks the same from Monday to Sunday. The rating is not increased from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. because they are working or studying. Therefore, if the television station want to increase its rating, it should broadcast on Friday and Sunday at 7 p.m. The last topic is conclusion. The IF algorithm was applied to the model predict the for entertainment television program during September, October, and November 2022. It was using input feature from 13 variables as input data. First, the accuracy of the IFR model was about 90.10% and 95.69% of the R-square for the prediction and regression respectively. From the prediction results, program were the most important variable that affect the program rating at 0.48, followed by time period at 0.15 and 0.10 respectively. From the study of financial dependence, the broadcast duration of 19 to 120 minutes will increase the rating of a entertainment program maximum increase. From the prediction, two-dimensional partial at 7 p.m. on Friday and Sunday is a period that make the rating of the program increase to the maximum. For acknowledgement, I would like to thank the Kasetsat University Laboratory School Mathematical Program for supporting and educational research. And I would like to appreciate my parents, siblings, and support system who never cease to love me and support me. Thanks for your attention. If you have any question, comment, please ask me in chat box or ask via email that I show in this page. Thank you.
Thank you, Ankur, for your wonderful presentation.
Good afternoon, I'm Shiva Shakti, and my topic is deep learning based retinal disease diagnosis. So the goal is to develop a deep learning model for retinal image classification by making use of the convolutional neural network algorithm for potentially classifying the results in the form of best accuracy. So here a study is aiming to distinguish retinal disease from optical coherence tomography images. So programmed analysis of retinal images have been made for determination of various retinal diseases such as diabetic retinopathy, hypertension. So here we make use of retinal features, retinal optic discs lessons, where we are applying the convolutional neural network for detecting the disease. The photographs are taken from the retina star databases. So variety of neuron and layer-wise visualization methods have been carried out. So, and this model is deployed and which makes use of Python Django framework has been implemented. So here the proposed system consists of pre-treatments were made from data size and standardize them to the size, make use of convolutional neural network. So the person with a lesser expertise can also be able to predict easily. And samples of images are collected from different retinal. The primary attributes of the image are relied upon the shape and texture-oriented features. The efficient detection and has been carried out with CNN has achieved a great success in the classification of various retinal diseases. So, which has been trained with a publicly available retinal disease given image data set. And this model is deployed using the Django framework. So, advantages increase in throughput and reduce subjectiveness in arising from human experts in detecting the retinal disease. It's essential to predict a particular disease. In our country, many farmers are not so educated to get correct information about the disease. So, dataset consists of 400 trained and 100 test image records from optical coherence tomography, CNV, which is choroidal neovascularization, and diabetic macular edema, drusen, which is yellow spots in the eye, and the normal images is taken into consideration. The project goals is loading the given data, importing the required libraries, Keras, TensorFlow, and pre-processing of data, reshaping data arguments, and defining whether the model is sequential or functional and the number of layers used, and compiling the model with the help of defining loss function, optimizer, weights, and bias, and fitting the model, training and testing. So first we are splitting the data set into training and test data. Training data set consists of the output, and also the model learns on the data in order to be generalized. And here we are making use of a library in Python using the Keras method. And next, construction of detecting model is essential with the help of the past image data. And we are making use of the AlexNet architecture, which is a convolutional neural network consisting of 5 convolutional, 3 max pooling, and 2 normalization layers, and 2 fully connected layers and a softmax layer. And it also consists of convolutional filters and a nonlinear activation function ReLU. Pooling layers perform maximum pooling. Convolutional layers where the filters are applied to the original image or to other feature deep CNN. This is where most of the specified parameters are available in the network and consist of number of kernels and the size of the kernels. Pooling layers are similar to convolutional network, but they perform specific functions such as maximum number of pooling, which takes the maximum value in a certain filter region, or average pooling, and which takes the average value in the filter region. Next is dense or fully connected layers are placed before the classification output of the CNN used to flatten the result, which is similar to the output layer of the MLP. So next is LeNet architecture, convolutional neural network, which promoted the event of the deep learning, and which is made up of 7 layers. LeNet is also used to train the 4 types of disease which we have taken. It is trained 7 layers, consists of 3 convolutional, 2 sub sampling, and 2 fully connected layers. So Python is an integrated high-level purpose programming language. Its language is a very easier and has a high-end language which comes and which helps the programmers to write a clear and logical code for the projects. So this is an architecture, this is database and input feature extraction, and so disease, different types of disease is compared with the AlexNet, LeNet, and the manual network, and the disease is identified. So here we import the image from the data set and perform the different types of functions, and to train the model by giving image data set to using classifier and fit generator function, making training steps per approach. We can train the data set. So classification, we give input image using Keras preprocessing package, and that input image is converted into array value using payload image to array function. And finally, this is this predictor using the predict function. We make use of the Django framework, which helps to write software which is complete and versatile and secure. And it is written in Python and can run on many platforms. That means you are not tied to any particular server platform, and which is very flexible, and it runs on many applications like Linux, Windows. It produces specific infrastructure and documentation for hosting Django sites. So here, in conclusion, we focus on how image from given data set and past data set used to predict the pattern of retinal diseases using CNN model. This brings some of the following insights about retinal disease prediction. The major benefit of CNN classification framework is the ability to classify images automatically. We make use of 3 AlexNet, LeanNet, ManualNet, and accuracy of highest is achieved with the help of LeanNet of 97%. And with that, we are deploying using the Django framework. And in that Django framework, finally, we identify the type of disease. Eye disease mainly contribute to the blindness and often cannot be remediated because the patients are diagnosed too late with the disease. In this study, we have discussed the overview of the methodologies for detecting the abnormalities in retinal image, which include correction of retinal disease, pre-processing, feature extraction techniques, and classification schemes. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, for all the conference coordinators and everyone. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Shivshakti, for your good research work. Do share your details out there in the chat box. We have many IT people where you can collaborate, or see how you can go ahead and talk to people out there and do the extension work for your research. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
My name is Doan. I'm from Vietnam. I'm a Vietnam. Okay, maybe you have heard about Vietnam country. Okay, so my study is about the education. I was using the event, or in another words, it's event style plus activities in English, Vietnamese, and Vietnamese English interpretation classes. So here, the outline of my presentation is going to be the following main parts. The first one is introduction. The second one is I will give an overview on event and event style courses. And next one will be organizing interpretation, translation courses into event style courses. So in this part, I will share some of my experiences and some of my activities that I have done with these classes, and result in discussion and recommendation and conclusion. And for the first course, with an aim to investigate how event, or in other words, event style class activity used in the classroom, the paper focusing on answering the 2 research questions. The first one is how event style activities are implemented in English classes for the 2 subjects, interpretation and translation. The second one is what are student perception on the benefits of event style classes activities. So we have reviewed some main information about event and some other information so that we can base on week for our study. The first one about study, about the event, we have summarized the different theory, and our conclusion is it's an integral part of civilization, and the event has very important role in the history from the past until now. It's an important historical topics with a management communication, and event is a time to I guess 2 or more participants. It has been planned, and it's give everyone the opportunity. So based on this, we can divide the event into different types. The first one is professional event, entertainment events, and social and common courses of event. So to summarize this part, we can say that event is a special occasion, the first thing. The second thing is organize for the participation of group of participants. And it's already in advance plan, and it's classified into different types depending on the organizer purposes and event purposes. So with this theory, we can base on this and organize our activities in the classes, and we organize our translation and interpretation classes in the event style classes, so that students will have chances to practice their social skill, their English skill, and their translation and interpretation skill. And based on the theory, here, what we have done to organize classes into the event, right? The first one, we have different kind of event. We have employed the first one, in-class event slide activity. The second one is out of the class event slide activities and field trip. So these are the three common events that we have applied in our classes. So for the first one is in-class activity or in-class event activities. So for this activity, we have a class of 23 students in the interpretation classes, and we divided into two main groups. And each group has been assigned with a task of organizing an event. So the first group, they are assigned to host a scientific conference on one of the environmental issues. Okay, so at this event, they have to talk about the environmental problem and solution. So they will have to pretend to be the expert, the journalist, or the local people. And the second group, they will have to host a scientific conference on one of the educational issues. Some of them will be some professional in education, and the other will be the teacher, the student, etc., to discuss some issues related to education. And the time for preparation is 1 week. A group has been assigned to make all necessary preparation related to planning an event. The time for a conference event is 3 hours, including reporting section, discussion section, entertainment section. All these sections must be live interpreted. So with this assignment and activity, so here what our student has done. The first one here, some image of the classes that is organized in the event style. So students have done a lot of important things, and we see some positive result. The first one, we can see that students have made a very meticulous preparation. So here the master plan they have to do about the master plan, about the timeline, about the how to set up, about the email invitation, and a group they have deadline, and here the link of what they have done. So in the first thing, in the first result, we can see that our student may get from the activity, and here some background, some preparation for the event day that they have made. Okay, so all this has been made by our student, and here the room they have set up with the TV screen, and here some name labels, etc. They have made all interesting, important thing and look like a real conference or event. And here the two hosts of the events, and here the participants. All the participants here are students, and the guests, they are invited here to share the opinions and to talk, to show their ideas about the activity. And we also have some link about the activities, about the detail about the specific activity that our student has done. So in the first activity, and for the second activity, we have organized is the field trip. It means the student will be taken outside of the school to take part in some important activities like company tour. They visit a company, okay, to discover about the reality and about the working environment that they're going to take part in the future. And they may be the self-organized too. And for these activities, beside the visiting, the discovering activities, students need to practice two important tasks, which is interpretation and translation. And before taking the trip, we have to make a proposal with with a lot of information about the participants, about the time, about the place, a range of mean transportation, and the fees and others. And we also have to set the objectives and the activity we have to do in the field trip. For example, for the first activity of the field trip, we organize a talk show between the student with a representative from the company. And student, not only the participant in the company tour, they also have to be the interpreter and translator, and they have to work there. And the second activity is the interaction of the business and destination. And we also have to make the requirement about the skill that students need to obtain and the specific about the tasks they have to do, and the itinerary. Okay, so here the activity, the image of the activity that our student has done. So here's a visit to a paradise in Hạ Long. So we also hear the image of the talk show. That's a student. So these are our students. Okay, so they are our students. And here, okay, the man here is the manager of the paradise. So he will talk with the student, and the student have to listen to him, exchange, communicate with him, and some of them have to be the interpreter during this section. And also, okay, so here are some other activities, right? Right, so that is the two important activity, and we call it the event style that we organize in our class activities. So after these, we have collected the student perception on the benefits of this style event style activities. So with the in-depth interview question about the student perception on the event, they experience in their English or Vietnamese classes interpretation, almost of students really highly appreciated the activity because they had a lot of chances. The company tour event and in-class event give the student, and they can apply the theories to the practical experience. And with the plan event, learners were able to develop two interpretation skills. One. The second is the event, the company visit event have brought the student the reality of the world. And thanks to this event, students able to imagine the reality of their future world. And the event also helps students, the language students, to realize the differences and difficulty to be able to apply the knowledge they have learned in a more helpful direction. And here some of the student opinions. Okay, we have learned a lot of lessons, a lot of skill, a lot of experiences, deeper understand the characteristic of the interpreting industries, and okay, have student realistic view of the industry. All right, and here's some activities they can practice. Okay, in conclusion, the student have seen a lot of benefits and a lot of things from the event side class activities. All right, so in conclusion, for the event, or when we mention the event, it means we organize class activity in the event style, a meeting, a talk show, of the field trip, and other, and we can see many benefits. All right, so that is some of my sharing about my study, and I hope it's we bring to someone or to have some real experiences in teaching and learning. And thank you very much for your paying attention to our research. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John, for your wonderful work. Yes, the interpretation or using new techniques in the studies is really nice in for interpretation class. It's really a innovative work, and yeah, many places they're implementing it, and it has a nice geographical survey, geography identity, and good work. We will be in touch. Any other participants would like to collaborate, they can collaborate and do some similar works of doing a comparison study between Vietnam and other, say, Thailand or India or China or Japanese, because the English influence is very less compared to Indian and other countries. We understand that. Good research work. Thank you. We'll be in touch. Please to share your email address.
Of skilled resources recruitment and retention in construction projects in a company based in Cape Town. So the challenge there is the process of identifying, screening and shortlisting and hiring of potential human resources for the purpose of filling up the position within our construction organization has been problematic for quite a time in the construction industry. Because it's not always that there is enough skilled manpower on the market to actually fill up these posts. So the shortage of skilled personnel generally in the country, here in South Africa and in Cape Town, makes it very difficult for most companies to recruit construction personnel, especially the skilled personnel, and also the problem is to retain them as well. So human resources, just like equipment and other resources, is very important with regards to skilled manpower. And we just want to look at especially this company, which was based in Cape Town. And the problem statement is based on the challenges for the construction industry to find qualified candidates to fill the main positions that arise through the project life cycle as the construction projects are being carried out. And it is tough to keep the hired skilled resources once they are acquired, because now they need to look at other possible, available jobs, so they can move from company to company. So the other problem is also to retain them. So the objectives of the study was looking at identifying the problems that the companies are facing, number one, and also to identify what these organizations or these companies are expecting from the industry, and then look at the reasons for the poor retention of the skilled resources, right? So the research approach used a quantitative research approach because it was relevant to the research. A questionnaire was administered to the skilled workers, and the responses were analyzed on Excel using descriptive statistics, just to look at how these workers reacted or felt with regards to the industry. So the profile of the company is illustrated there in terms of what we looked at. So they looked at human resources managers, and the project managers, site managers, quantity surveyors, assistant quantity surveyors, the project foremen, civil engineering technicians, permanent skilled workers, and as well as contracted skilled workers. And literature review was also looked at. When you looked at the literature in terms of what were the findings in other countries with regards to the construction industries. So it was found that, you know, there was a lot of challenges that were cited by other authors, which included lack of interest by the local people. There was a lot of also political influence, especially in some construction projects. There was also issues of candidates or potential workers looking for greener pastures. Some workers were found to be overqualified for their roles. And then the labor market as well, the issue of advertising costs, the uncertainty with regards to job demands and candidates' capability. All these were cited by other authors. And with regards to the sample size, out of 80 members of the small construction company investigated, 72 were available for the study and participated in the study, which included the human resources personnel, project managers, site managers, permanent and contracted skilled workers, as well as bricklayers, plasterers, carpenters, plumbers, and so forth, that were actually investigated, electricians and welders that were also involved in the study. So the study found out that there were two distinct groups. The basic criterion for involving members from these groups was that they were familiar with the construction projects and were deemable, capable of providing the required information. The managers and administrators and supervisors of skilled personnel in the organization were required to provide details how they recruited, they identified the skilled workers, and then how they put in place incentives to retain them. And some ways of advertising, the workers were recruited through adverts from the radio, television, newspapers, the internet, and social media platforms were platforms that were used to. And the skilled workers were also asked to indicate how they got their jobs as well. And they responded, and this is how the skilled workers responded in terms of how they got their jobs. You can see that most of the workers got their jobs through the newspaper, as opposed to radio, television, and other social platforms. So the newspaper was the most popular way of recruiting workers. And out of the respondents, the 72 respondents, 63% agreed that they always perform best to their best of their abilities, and 21% also agreed. 11% disagreed, and 4% disagreed that they always perform to the best of their abilities. And 50% of the skills, the necessary skills for being in the industry, and then some of them face their challenges with regards to the industry. And 66% strongly agreed that they would accept a permanent position if they were approached by management. And also 39% agreed that they would change industry if an opportunity presents itself. So the recommendations to the organization was that the organization had to spread their way of recruiting in terms of job advertisement in the media, because most of them came through the newspapers. So it was advised that they can now go through other media as well. And then there was necessary need to find skilled workers to give them career progression so that they can progress and then they can be retained within the company. And also the issue of political influence was very important, so that the organization would actually operate without any political influences. The study also recommended that the strengthening of labor relations in the construction industry, involving both centralized and decentralized bargaining, and then also the use of apprenticeship training is a better choice for addressing the issue of attracting and retaining qualified workers, whereby the workers will be trained from maybe college, and then incentives put in place so that they can be retained, and then they can keep the jobs and given opportunities to improve. And also apprentices have a high level of appreciation, morale, and loyalty when they are assigned to substantive roles by the same company. So giving them challenging roles in the same organization so that they're not in the same position over the years will also help in terms of retaining them. So briefly, that was the study on retention of workers and skilled manpower in the construction industry in projects in Cape Town. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your wonderful presentation, sir.
So good afternoon, dear all committees and participants. So my name is Junghao Wang, and I studied the MBA program at Prince of Songkla University, Phuket campus. So today, my topic is the factors influencing travel risk perceptions and intention to travel to Thailand of Chinese residents during the COVID-19 pandemic. So my presentation will divide into 4 parts, which is introduction, literature review, research method that I use, and last one is result and conclusion. So the part 1 for the introduction part. So as we all know, there is no doubt that the pandemic has hit all countries and industries, and especially for the tourism and the countries where tourism is the dominated industry. And for the risk perception, actually risk perception is necessary for the tourism industry. And also researchers have well-reached and well-established research on the risk perceptions of the average tourist traveling overseas period to the pandemic. So I got the great opportunity for me to study and investigate. And the reason why I choose Thailand, because First reason, Thailand is one of the world's leading tourism destination. And also, during the pandemic, Thailand launched several policies and campaigns to try to attract international tourists and try to recover the tourism industry. And also, Thailand was considered a high-risk travel destination regarding to the Travel Tourism Competitiveness Report. And when we mention about Thailand, we can't miss the Chinese residents because the number of Chinese resident tourists tops the list of international visitors to Thailand. And when I would like to study about the Chinese residents, I divided to two parts. The first part is generations, and the second one is the tourist typology groups. So I try to get diversity perspective to better understand Chinese tourists. There is the literature review part. I studied the relevant factors. First one is the generation. So actually, there are some arguments between the generations and risk perception. So I try to figure out the relationship between the risk perception and generations. And the second one is the novelty and familiarity seeking, which is related to the tourist typologic groups. And then is the vulnerability. The vulnerability here that I put on my papers is mean the people's health data. And then is the travel intention. Last one is the subjective norm. And the subjective norm is the pressures a person feels to perform particular behaviors, and the motivation of that person to obey those pressures are called the subjective norm. These are the relative factors that I would like to study about the each relationship between. There is the research method that I use. I use the quantitative method. I created a questionnaire and I distribute online due to the pandemic period. And the population and sample size. The target sampling size is 384 for the unknown population, but actually I got the valid questionnaire is 958. And for the data analysis, I used descriptive statistic, ANOVA, and multiple regressions. That is my result and conclusion. As we can see the chart here, most of the responders are from the eastern part of China, and they are Generation Z and male more than female. The yearly income of the responders are between the 0 to 60,000 yuan. Move to the next chart, we can know that most of them would like to use the television, Bilibili, and WeChat to search the information about Thailand. Also, most of them are explorers. Then we move to the hypothesis testing. The first 5 hypotheses are used multiple regressions, and we can see the p-value here. The p-value equal or less than 0.05 significance about the hypothesis. So we can see here, the first 2 hypotheses, novelty and familiarity have relationship with risk perception during the pandemic are not support. But for the rest of them, vulnerability has relationship between travel risk perception during the pandemic. Travel risk perception has relationship with travel intention during the pandemic, and subjective norm has relationship with travel intention during the pandemic are support. And then the rest of 4 hypotheses are used ANOVA to figure out the relationships between them. So we can see here, the p-value are all 0.00. However, the post hoc here, we can see more details. So these 4 hypotheses are partially support. Then we move to conclusion. From the statistic analysis, we can know that Chinese tourists who wanted to visit Thailand during the pandemic were not overly concerned about the novelty and familiarity. The factors influencing the perception of tourism risk among Chinese residents during the pandemic were vulnerability, the concern about their health status. And for the travel intention, on the other hand, was related to risk perception and subjective norm. And then for the generations and the tourists and typology groups, there is no significant difference in risk perception between Generation Z and Generation Y. And also, there is no significant difference in travel intention between Generation Z and Generation Y, between Generation Z and Generation X. In terms of the travel typology groups, the individual mass tourist is not significantly different from the risk perception when compared to the explorer, and the only significant difference in travel intention between the tourist typology groups are found in the comparison of organized mass tourists and individual mass tourists, organized mass tourists and explorer, and organized mass tourists and drifters. And actually, the chart here that I left for the ANOVA test for the post hoc chart here, and we can see it easily and clearly. And thank you. That's all my presentation. If you have any questions, you can contact me by email, and I will leave my email to the chat box later. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your wonderful presentation. We'll get in touch in the email. Thank you.
Development. So the drug discovery, we know that it is the molecular structure with like it is coming from the Ayurveda in India, and now it is benefiting amongst all of us with the help of the artificial intelligence and the machine learning. So what happened in the drug development, this takes a long time and cost of money from the target identification to step-by-step clinical trials. So what happens in the clinical trials also, we have to go to different checkpoints, or we have to go for different trials and errors. Like we have to go for some testing, then we get some kind of information, and then we get the exact result that what has happened to us. So at each checkpoint, it is very crucial to select the best possible pharmaceutical choices for the treatment. Okay, so for this treatment, what we have done, I have used the artificial intelligence and the machine learning. Okay, so machine learning and deep learning techniques, these are being used in the drug discovery for every situations of the molecular tested. So finding the lead compound and confirming the medical potential. So I have used this hit to lead method. Now hit to lead method, what happens in this? Whatever, how many times, like coming to the treatment, before the treatment, how many times that patient has visited, what kind of records he is having, what kind of treatment he has gone through. So with the help of this hit to lead method, we can definitely efficiently get lead of that patient. So the recent developments in the drug discoveries have made the AI a very very important and cost effective. So this AI in drug discovery, this has made possible by the advent of the high processors, what we are using right now, and also with the help of the deep learning. So there are the traditional techniques which were used in the AI and ML. So with the help of the deep learning, this output, we get the high dimensionality, and also we get the complexity, uncertainty, diversity, and high dimensionality. So this deep learning has made a very traditional technique in some of the application of the drug designing, what I'm going to be doing it right now. So to build a robust and the productive model, deep learning relies on the large and complex neural networks. Okay, and these large and complex neural networks have to adapt the variety of problems. So for those problems, I've gone through these models. So these models are divided into different categories, that is the multi-layer perceptron, convolution neural network, graph neural network, recurrent neural network, attention neural based models, generative network. So these are the models and the methods which I'm using with the help of the deep learning technologies. So due to its ability of the artificial intelligence, it drastically cuts the time and the money required to develop the new medicines. Because nowadays, for developing the new medicines, it takes a very long time. So AI based on the drug discovery has recently in very good form. So the field of the drug research and the development have made us the ML also AI and the deep learning technologies to develop the new medical prospectus. So the machine learning and the deep learning based techniques are emerging at every level of the drug development. Okay, so this results in the proliferation of the drug related data. Whatever the drug is nothing but our medicines. So whatever information or the result is there, it is related to this medicinal data. So in the proposed methodology, what I have done, one of the most important tasks for the AI, which is being assisted by the molecular design, in the prediction of the molecular structures. Now we know that with the help of the molecular structures and the protein sequence, we can get the prediction of the what kind of disease the person is prone to. So to meet this problem, an increasing number of graph neural networks, okay, is being proposed. By now, the graph neural network is not being used till now. ANN and RNN is being used, but GNN is not used till now. So by including more of the information in the molecules of these models, this expands to the expressive power while unavoidably increasing their computational complexity. So in this work, what I've done, I've created a powerful and effective GNN, the molecular structure, by first presenting each molecules at the two layers of the multiplex graph. The one contains the local connection and the second one contains the global connection. Okay, so this is my proposed methodology that I'm constructing the GNN based multiplex molecular graph. Okay. So here, these are the, in the proposed methodology, the molecular properties are predicting the usage of the neural networks, which are being constructed with the help of the multiplex molecular graph model. Okay. In that, we are having the atomic number that is Z, which has been randomly initialized and it has been trainable. I'm using the Cartesian coordinators, which is R of atoms, which are used to determine the pairwise distance and the angles, with the RBF and the SBF subroutines, which have been used. So then I send the message by stocking all the modules of the multiplex molecular graph, which I can get the output at the node level itself. So an output at the module is used at each multiplex molecular graph module. So all of the outputs from each node and the layer have been added together to form final prediction of the Y coordinate. So these are the platforms and tools which have been used, that is Windows, Anaconda, Python, and PyTorch. Now coming to result analysis, I've done the matrix evaluation of error ratio. In the error ratio, I've used the data sets of quantum machine 9 data sets, which are being commonly considered by the gold standards, because it has been repeated one, and these data sets are very efficient and unique. Okay. So with the help of these QM9, the density function, that is DFT, these calculations are used to determine the characteristics. 100 and the 1000 molecules are being used in the training phases and 10,000 in the validation phase. And remaining molecules are used for the testing phase. So we calculate this MAE of the desired characteristics and the chemical bonds which serve the edges of the local layer. Okay. And while the cutoff distance serves the same purpose in the global layer, as we have seen earlier, we have two layers in the multiplex layer, the local layer and the global layer. Now, as we have used the novel GNN, this is it has the ability to generalize and its performance on the QM9 datasets, which is used for predicting the molecular properties. And for the further evaluation, several state-of-art baseline models are being provided. So the novel GNN, it shows the less error ratio as compared to the, I've compared it with the DIMNet and the deep mole net model. So as we can see here, there is a GNN model, DIMNet, and the deep mole network, whereas the GNN based model, it is having the very less, that is 0.38 error ratio, okay, compared to the DIMNet and deep mole net. So in the proposed GNN based multiplex molecular network graph, it is a robust and effective GNN for predicting the molecular properties. And the GNN for the molecules capacity has the gives the expressions and the memory efficiency also. And the innovation of the GNN is found in its molecular mechanics based representation of the multiplex graph. These are some of the references. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. I am Pradeep Chakrabarty from Aryabhatta Research Institute of Observational Sciences. It is coming under the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. I am posting in Nainital. Now I am presenting from Darjeeling. So, main abstract is that the 3.6 meter Devastal optical telescope, which has been situated in Devastal, which has been established by Government of India and Government of Belgium jointly, and it is the largest telescope of India, 3.6 meter telescope. Here I will discuss the primary mirror cell aluminizing and the contribution of mechanical engineering on that particular aspects, particular activities. The basic difference between a household mirror and an optical mirror is that one is coated on the back surface and the other is coated in the front. Our optical telescope, for optical applications where telescopes are used, is optical optics, which is aluminizing from the front side. So there are 3.6 meter DOT means Devastal Optical Telescope Facility. The 3.6 meter DOT facility at Devastal consists of the following components in order to make it operational during the observing sessions. A telescope, the 3.6 meter Devastal Optical Telescope, enclosures, a dome, piers, extension building enclosing the aluminum coating plant, an aluminum coating plant for the aluminization of M1 mirror. That is, two mirrors are there in telescope, primary mirror and secondary mirror. So it is, we are talking about the aluminization of M1 mirror, that is primary mirror. Back-end instruments, that is TIRCam, FOSS, 4K imager and Transpac. So TIRCam means TIFR, near infrared imaging camera, FOSC, FOSS means faint object spectrograph and camera, and Transpac means TIFR ARIES, near infrared spectrometer. Here is the major sub-assemblies of 3.6 meter telescope. You see from here that here M2 mirror is there, secondary mirror, primary mirror is here. That is ARIES. One instrument is there, ARIES, that is octagonal structure. Here, this primary mirror is situated. This is secondary mirror. It is a primary mirror, is M1, it is written. You see. Some bearings are there to rotate the telescope as per requirement. You see, the major sub-assemblies of 3.6 meter DOTs are as follows. Name mentioned in anti-clockwise direction as shown in the figure. I have shown the figure first. GIS azimuth cable, that is GIS means ground interface structure. ARIS AGU, ARISS is in equipment. His name is adapter rotated instrument support structure, and AGU is auto guider unit. Octagonal bottom ring, centerpiece, electrical cabinet, centerpiece, M1 cell, M1 mirror, M2 mirror, spider and M2 cell, intermediate and upper ring, altitude bearing housing, fork electrical cabinet, azimuth cable wrap, and azimuth electrical cabinet. Now, preparation of customized tools. Some tools are necessary, mechanical tools are necessary to carry out this job, to dismantle the M1 cell from the structure, and again, after aluminizing, it has to be refitted. Depending upon the application, like disintegration and integration of octagon from ARIS and disintegration and integration of M1 cell from the centerpiece, the customized tools have been made using different open closed ring, ratchet spanner, and handles as shown in the figure. That is special tools. It is very hard to reach to the particular point. So we have developed some tools, hand tools, which could be used effectively to dismantle the parts I have mentioned already regarding this aluminizing of M1 cell. You see the tools, different kind of tools which we have developed there. We have procured some of the tools. We have developed some of the tools which are used for aluminizing process. This is another kind of tools. We have extended its length so that the tools could be reached as the destination at the particular point easily as per our requirement. There are polyester lifting sling. So the mirror casing and other equipment should be hanged through crane so that it could be used more conveniently without creating any kind of accidents or mishaps. That is box spanner set. That modification of hand tools, you see that as per requirement we have made it. That is torque wrench, which is used to tighten the nuts and bolts, that is fasteners, because as per requirement in the design, we have to follow this at the time of execution. That is portable tab guide. When we are using this kind of fastening equipments, If frequently it gets opened and closed, the threads gets damaged. To overcome this thing, I have designed one portable tab guide, which could be used as and when required and at the particular spot, because it is very difficult to dismantle the telescope equipment. That is 3.6 meter is the diameter of the primary mirror. So you can imagine what is the dimensions of other parts of that particular telescope. So it is not feasible or possible for us to take this parts where threads have gone bad. So we have to take the portable tab guide to there so that we can use it more conveniently and overcome the problem. You see, it is the safety precautions that has been taken in the hatch area, which is telescope adjacent area, where from the these mirror primary mirrors can get dismantled to the downstairs and where the aluminizing section is situated. Welding is a very important method, important process for carrying out this kind of mechanical jobs. So welding should be, entire fabrication process should follow the scientific method so that the process could be termed as flawless. Planning engineer, welding coordinator, and quality control manager of the section should maintain the process data for achieving quality control products. The data should comprise of a general welding procedures and procedure qualification records. And now conclusion, the mirror aluminizing process is a very conscientious process, substantially damaged high quality of skill, proper planning, and mitigates the hurdles of the grand project. The entire process have to be carried out meticulously by maintaining all safety norms. Proper flowchart of the process have to be noted down within the diary systematically so that if ineffective time could be minimized. The total performance should be monitored by overall equipment effectiveness analysis in proper system. If proper system is maintained, the entire process of mirror aluminizing work should become trouble-free. And that's acknowledgement. I am really grateful to my seniors, my colleagues, several engineering people, administrative people, and obviously the Google search engine, where from I have got some ideas, and my ex-directors, current directors, Professor Deepankar Banerjee, and the journals of the Indian Institute of Welding, Kolkata. Thank you. If any questions are there, I have shared my mail ID in my chat box, so you can contact me, and I will definitely, whatever, how much it is possible, I would like to help you in this aspect. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pradeep sir, for your wonderful presentation. Nice presentation, and good to see about the research about the telescope and how you are working and all. We'll connect more. Thank you. We'll go ahead with the next presenter now.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today's topic is design of cascade control system using National Instruments MyRIA controller for industrial applications. And Dr. H. Prasanna Kumar sir is my guide. And this is my biography. I'm pursuing a second year postgraduate student doing my present master's at control and instrumentation at University of Visvesvaraya College of Engineering. And I have received my bachelor's degree in electronics and communication engineering from APS College of Engineering. And my guide, Dr. H. Prasanna Kumar sir, currently serves as a professor at the Department of Electrical Engineer at University of Visvesvaraya College of Engineering, Bangalore. So coming to the abstract, recently an industrial automation greatly reduces the need for human workforce in cost and all. So the advanced process control systems generally focuses on regulating the output variable against the dynamic real-time changes, which happens in different processes and variables like level, temperature, humidity, flow, etc. So to set the set point as a variable. So in this work, we have designed a cascade control system using National Instruments and MyRIA controller for industrial applications like dairy industries or wherever the oil heating kind of industries. And so generally there might be applications where 2 or more parameters need to be controlled. Like example, if there is a temperature, there will be a water level temperature or flow need to be controlled. There's like kind of 2 parameters. So, and in this paper, we have controlled temperature and level. of the liquid by our tank systems, and it is controlled and monitored, whereas by using a Mario controller, and which brings flexibility to the systems, and it's easy to transmit the data to. So next, and in this industry 4.0, we can add this project into this industry 4.0 to get more advanced in science. Example, like we can also control this system by using robots, by using Wi-Fi systems, etc. And again, second motivation is LabVIEW software is very useful for students, whereas it is no need to be a programmer to use this. Anyone can, any student with the knowledge of using this lab, can use this, and it's like a pick and place software. So it's a use of graphical programming like LabVIEW. It's easy to use this project, and this is a station tank system which we have designed, and there's a controller which we give the set points for the level and the temperature, and where it is being controlled. And here this is a tank which we have designed. In between we have placed an heater, and the level sensors, 40 float level sensors we have placed, and float level sensors is are continuous level sensors featuring a magnetic float that rises and falls as a liquid level changes. The principle of this sensor is it creates a magnetic field that actuates the sealed reed switch, that is, which is placed in between the stem of the level sensor, triggering the switch to open or close. So coming to the temperature sensor, we have used DS18B20. So this sensor is a programmable sensor. It's a digital waterproof sensor. And here the resolution of this sensor.
Sorry for interrupting. Your presentation, like we can just see the first slide, it's not moving.
Oh, okay, okay. Just a minute. Can you see now, sir?
Yes, yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, and this temperature sensor, it is programmable sensor and also a waterproof sensor, and the resolution of this sensor ranges from 9 bits to 12 bits, whereas default resolution used to power up to is 12 bit. So this sensor gets power within a lower power in inactive condition. So here the communication of sensor can be done with the help of one wire method also. So power supply range is about 3.3 volt to 5.5 volt, which is needed. The accuracy of this temperature sensor is plus or minus 0.5 degrees Celsius, and temperature ranges from minus 55 degrees Celsius to 125 degrees Celsius. And we have interfaced this temperature sensor with Arduino for the connection, and then we have added a 4.7 kilo pull-up resistor to control the damage of the sensor also. And coming to the system and model design, this is a system we have controlled Mario controller over here, and which is connected to a relay circuits, and via the relay circuits all the valves and the valves and flow sensor and all is connected. And here we have used Arduino and National Instruments Mario controller for the communication purpose. We have used UART communication for this, whereas UART communication is used for communication between two controllers, and here UART is nothing but universal asynchronous receiver and transmitter, which defines a set of a protocol or a set of rules for exchanging serial data between two devices. And it's in hardware communication. We need two wires to communicate with the transmitter receiver pins too. And these are the results which we have done in the LabVIEW software. The block diagram is nothing but the block diagram panel. We have digital input from the Mario, and we have given UART communication over here. And we can see the output from the front panel from the LabVIEW software. So here we have see the UART communication. We have temperature, the temperature values we can see here, and we have also implemented a PID, and we have and also valve condition. It's whether it's in low level or high level we have done. And in this output graph, we have see that it's a 50. We have given the set point, and 30 degree. It's from starting from 30 degree. It's like rising and it's reaching its set point, and we have maintained this level and temperature and controlled to be stable at a temperature even at a set point. And feature scope and conclusion of this is we can understand operation and controlling of temperature and level of the liquid and using the advanced control algorithm, that is cascade control system. And it is also in this project, you can also use in communication technologies like Zigbee, LoRa, and some other such communications using IIoT also. And long ranges, like we can use repeaters to communicate via wireless for far ranges. And thank you.
Thank you for your wonderful presentation.
I'm Ashok. I'm a student of NIT Durgapur. This paper, I'm working in the area of MANETs, like mobile ad hoc network in the field of wireless communication. So under the guidance of Dr. Bimaji, I have worked on this. The mainly that clustering based technique we used for secure routing using deep anomaly detection with energy aware system. So by that we can give more efficient energy level routing protocols. Using that we can achieve some security. So in this, my contents are like introduction and what is the need of mobile ad hoc networks and clustering based secure routing in MANETs and related existing works, and what from that what we and we have more achieved for this proposed novel technical model, and why do we need our proposed model, performance analysis and conclusion. So introduction, the sensor, that wireless ad hoc networks, in the sense like we have multiple mobile nodes we can interconnect in the wireless medium. So it will be without a fixed infrastructure. So generally when we compare wireless sensor networks and mobile ad hoc networks, the difference between this, there is no fixed infrastructure, and the sensor main aim of these things is like we have followed that cluster based approach. So in these clusters, like different nodes we have created. From that we can choose that cluster head node, and it will act as like aggregator, and it will collect that data from other nodes in that cluster, and then it will transmit the data to the base station. So during this transmission, we can generally in the wireless field, wireless networks, sensor networks are ad hoc networks, and then we are mainly facing a lot of issues. Majorly is security kind of vulnerability things, and hackers can attack multiple attacks we are facing in by the telecom real time operators. They want to secure their communication between voice and data. So that we have chosen here one of the secure routing protocol to achieve the more secure routing communication, and then based on that energy more aware thing. So in the MANETs, so clustering based here is that so novel proposed protocol is that secure routing and using deep anomaly with the energy aware system and energy efficient routing protocol. So we have gone through different already some different techniques based to achieve the energy efficiency and the network performance and secure routing. So we have followed that. We have gone through the multiple existing techniques, and then from there we have limitations of the existing works to improve the security and routing and network lifetime and energy efficiency and network performance. So that we have used that to simulate that NS2 network simulator tool, and we have created clusters and created nodes, and based on that we have achieved that secure routing using dynamics completely. That network we are monitoring deeply using anomaly to find that any nodes are attacking by hackers, something like that. So using energy aware based energy efficient routing protocol, we have got some good simulation results like network energy and performance, and then more throughput, like how much packet loss or delivery packet ratio. We have implemented results from the existing methods from this novel proposed SRDA EARP protocol. So the system model is like first we have taken some node deployment and in the cluster, and from the essential deep anomaly we have compute that we are monitoring and for the security routing purpose. So after that, analyzing the network performance, how it is giving the we are achieving something like that. So based on this, like we have gone through using the NS2, we have achieved some better performance results here, like coming to the point of throughput in the sense like how many data packets which are sent from the source, and it will receive to the sync node over a specified period of time. The maximum value is taken or considered the better performance, so that when we compare of existing like EACZ and some COCA EACRP with this, when we see like number of nodes like 10, 30, here I have taken 50 and 70, and with 70 and all these points, like we have created 110 nodes and using TCL and some scripting. So, and after we ran some network performance using all the clusters. So compared to existing methods, we got a better throughput results, like increasing with our existing novel protocol, energy efficient protocol with the secure routing, deeply anomaly concept methodology using. Coming to the energy consumption also, the main thing is this is the main important thing in the mobile communication networks or sensor network. The energy also we have to improve from the research point of view. So here we achieved better some energy less consumption with this protocol. So comparatively others, 47 and the latest with 70 nodes, here 54, 53, 50 and 50. Now existing is we got little energy consumption. So packet delivery ratio also, we have less packets delivering from failure packets to deliver from source to destination is very less compared to the old like mixed existing methods. So we achieved good performance in the delivery ratio. Network lifetime in the using all these things, it depends totally using like long network stability time in the important requirement is like loss of data from one sensor not affect the final. The lifetime of the network is calculated by using some power consumed by the device. So here also we got better network lifetime to existing compared to existing techniques. Network performance also we have got some better results than existing methodologies. So conclusion point of view that here this energy efficient and secure routing protocols using deeply anomaly technique, we have achieved good performance, network performance and secure routing methodology in the mobile ad hoc networks. So difference. And then thank you all for this presentation and participating. Yeah.
Thank you, Ashok sir, for your wonderful presentation, sir.
Greetings to everyone. Greetings to everyone. I am Timothy Walter Quizon, and together with me are my co-authors, Elias Cabo and Dr. Hernan S. Alar. And we are from the College of Computing Information Sciences, University of Makati, Philippines. And today, we're going to be presenting our study entitled Gabor Filter-Based Drawing Image Instant Segmentation Enhancing Using Mask RCNN on Limited Dataset. So, image detection and instant segmentation are few of the widely explored topics in computer vision. With the birth of numerous algorithms and architectures for computer vision, researchers and machine learning developers have a lot of options to choose from in solving any specific problem domain. So now let's talk about the mask RCNN. This deep neural network architecture is for a simple, flexible, and general framework for object instant segmentation. It is the extended version of fast RCNN by adding a branch which is independent for prediction on object mask with the existing branch for bounding box recognition. And due to the state-of-art instant segmentation result of the mask RCNN. So this architecture has been used in many studies in the field of computer vision. Gabor filters are special cases of bandpass filters that has been used in a lot of implementation in different image processing and analysis. Gabor filters also used in many applications such as text segmentation, target detection, fractal dimension management, and document analysis, edge detection, and many more. And implementation of this generally claim to have and improve the overall accuracy of the most image classification model. So with this, we will implement or apply the Gabor filter mask to mask RCNN so that what will happen when we apply the Gabor filter to mask RCNN architecture? So we then aim to address the challenge on image segmentation for dataset with non-obvious properties like freehand drawings and the use of limited dataset. Then we will use this to improve the model in drawing analysis as a tool for psychological assessment. So for the research framework, data pre-processing such as annotation that segments each instance of the parts of the tree and the application of our predefined Gabor filter to each image in the dataset. The data was then divided into train and test partitions, and the partitioned data for training was used to the mask RCNN model. And lastly, the trained mask RCNN model was evaluated against the partition testing data. On data preparation, the model used images consisting of three sketches which are collected from on a repository of public computer vision dataset called RoboFlow in order to create a dataset in this study. A total of 154 images were manually collected, and each images was manually annotated using the polygonal segmentation. So to divide the trees through to three classes such as canopy, trunks, and root. So for the model development, we trained an image segmentation model using a pre-trained mask RCNN model with the COCO dataset weights. We use Gabor filter-based segmentation on the trained mask RCNN as an enhancement to address the challenge of segmenting the sketch images and ultimately the limited number of images in our dataset. And the presented here are the predefined parameters applied in our Gabor filters. First, in the loss function, the first figure was trained with 50 epochs. The pre-trained mask RCNN model yielded a decent loss function and the accuracy score of 13% and 87% respectively. The performance of the training process for such a model stabilizes around 20 epochs. And compared to the pre-trained mass RCNN on the figure number 2, the same number of training iterations were made to the pre-trained mass RCNN model. And utilizing the Gabor filters setting, the model yielded a loss function and accuracy score of 8% and 91% respectively. For the validation of results, the overall validation loss for the image segmentation model is a representative of the sum of different validation score. Hence, the distribution of the reported validation score of the benchmark mask RCN model is presented in the first figure. Also, the second figure also represents the decent convergence of the loss function and its contributing validation scores such as mask RCNN mask loss and MRCNN bounding box loss and the MRCNN class loss. So to further visualize the components of the recorded loss functions, the individual metrics of mass RCNN loss score and the RPN are presented. The details of the stratified cross-fold validation are presented. The 5% average difference between the performances of the model in terms of accuracy is proven to be statistically significant at p-value 0.0064. In conclusion, limited number of dataset were used in the experiment utilizing the mass RCNN architecture, and the results showed that implementing the Gabor filter brings a significant improvement in terms of model accuracy by 5%. And these results are statistically significant after the stratified cross-fold validation was made, and the resulting value of the accuracy of the two models are significantly different with a 0.0064 p-values. So for further studies, this research is an early step in the objective of determining drawing images. In psychology, freehand drawing are commonly used as assessment tool to identify the mental well-being of a person. And being able to design a model that is highly accurate in understanding the segment of drawing images is an initial step in developing a bigger scope of a project. That's it for my presentation, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Timon. Thank